Hi, hello. Hi, everybody. If you can hear me, let me know. Hi, welcome to this month's Community Office Hour. My name is Upono Mondia, and I am the Community Manager here at She Code Africa. I will be your host for today's session before I invite our amazing speaker, who is here, by the way. So let's see. I need all the energy that we can get in the comments. Hi, ladies. Welcome to today's session. Let me see. I think there's a question here. Oh, Imabong, it doesn't mean you've not been accepted. Emails are going out on Monday, so you definitely get an email to that effect. All right. Hi, ladies. Where are you joining in from? I'd like to know which city, where in Africa or beyond, or in the world, are you joining in from? And by the title of today's session, you already know what to expect. And I would like to hear from you. What are your expectations from this session? What are you looking forward to learning? Let's just hear you. Let's keep the energy coming. Where are you joining from? I can see Imabong. I can see Precious. I can see Nike. Hi, Juliana. Hi, amazing ladies. Hello, hello. Hi, joining from Ogun State. Puka. Hi, Precious. Precious is joining from East Nigeria. Stella is joining from Ibadan. Oh, that's amazing. Please, I would love to meet you, ladies. So let me know where you're joining in from. We are going to hit a hard start in about 3 minutes. Let's see. Let's see. I need more energy, ladies. More energy, more energy, more energy. Yeah, it's a pleasure to see you too. That's interesting. Hi, ladies. Where are you joining in from, and what are your expectations for this session? Hi, Soma from Abia. Hi, welcome to the call. Hi, Kemi from Ilorin. Would love to learn more about what your expectations are for this session because it's going to be super packed, power packed rather. We have an amazing speaker that is going to share with us. Juliana is joining in from Ondo State. Welcome, ladies. Welcome. Hi, Blessing, joining in from Abuja. Hi, let's reshare. So while you're on this live stream, please kindly reshare the link to your timeline, to groups that you belong to, community groups, WhatsApp communities, everywhere. Slack. Let's spread the word about this session because it's going to be super packed. Let's get other women who are interested in learning to join in and also learn from us. Hi, Blessing. Hi, Joyce, joining in from Abuja. So, Soma is saying that her expectation is documentation's best practices. Okay, that's interesting. Hopefully, our speaker does justice to that because she's here and she is taking notes. All right, ladies. So, without wasting so much of your time, I would like to invite on stage our amazing speaker who will be sharing with us today on getting started with technical writing. Yay! Hi, Peace.
Hi,
Welcome.
Laura. Thank you. Hi,
Hey, welcome.
ladies. How y'all
How are you doing?
doing? I'm very
How are
well.
you doing?
How is work?
Fine. Awesome. I mean, I'm still working, but
Oh, that's
looking good
true.
while at it.
Yeah.
It's so good to have you here. Ladies, so I'm
Thank
introducing to
you.
you Cindy. She's a technical writer. She's going to do justice to the rest of the introductions. But I'm just going to tell you that before she takes up this stage, I would like you to please bring out your notepads because This is one skill that you cannot afford to leave out of your skill box this year. And also put out comments in questions in the comment section. After her session, we'll be taking that. So yeah, the floor is over to you, Peace.
Thank you so much, Ofonobon, for that introduction. Thank you, Shikod Africa, for this opportunity. Thank you, ladies, for joining in. It's so good to be here. I'm so excited to speak to you. Yeah, before I start sharing my screen, my name is Peace Sandy, and I'm a technical writer and a software developer, documentation engineer as well. So, do we have technical writers in the house? You can just drop it in the comment section. I would like to meet you. Do you currently work as a technical writer, or are you an aspiring technical writer? You can drop it in the chat. Can anyone hear me? Oh, hi, Christina. All right, I think we'll just get started. Let me just share my screen. Oh, aspiring technical writer Ngozi, currently a research analyst. Wow, that's nice. Nice to meet you, Ngozi. Nice to meet everyone. Hi, Kemi. Okay, it says LinkedIn user, aspiring technical writer. Welcome, everyone. Okay, so today I saw somebody say they want to learn about documentation best practices. Although I'm going to mention something about that, but for today we are going to be talking about getting started with technical writing. So, hi everyone, once again. I'm Pete Sandy, a technical writer and a software documentation engineer. I enjoy turning complex software into simple, clear contents that people can actually use. I also love contributing to open source projects. And outside of work and tech, I love traveling, I love exploring new things, and I love writing as well. So, what is technical writing? I asked the question at the beginning of this call to know who are aspiring technical writers that are joining the call or people that are already practicing as technical writers. So, let's get to know what technical writing is. There is a reason why there's a technical in front of the writing. So we have different kinds of writing. We have content writing, we have UX writing, we have ghost writing, we have copywriting. But today we are going to be talking about technical writing. And like I said earlier, there's a reason why there's a technical in front of the writing. So technical writing is the process of creating clear, detailed instructions that help users understand the product, understand the system, or a concept. So a technical writer is someone that creates this content, and you create the content either in the form of a documentation, tutorial, user guides, support articles, or developer documentation. Have you ever gotten an electrical appliance before? Let's say a standing fan, and you're trying to install that fan, and probably you check the pack or the carton, and then you see something like a small paper. That's a user guide, and it was written by a technical writer. So in that user guide, you would see instructions on how to install that fan. Most times they make use of diagrams, and it makes it easier for the user to understand how to install the fan. So that is another form of contents that a technical writer can create. So imagine if that user guide is not concise. Imagine if the user guide is not detailed. Imagine if the user guide is not clear. You will leave your user confused and your user will not be able to install that fan. So that is why, as a technical writer, your number one job is to create clear, detailed instructions that will help your user understand the product. So, as a technical writer, you communicate complex information. Again, that is why the technical is there. Your work or your job is just to communicate that information that is hard, that information that is complex in a simple way. Not only in a simple way, but in a structured way, so that your readers or your users can understand it and they can use it for a specific purpose. So that is what, like, technical writing in a nutshell. So what are the benefits of technical writing? As a technical writer or an aspiring technical writer, you need to be a continuous learner. You don't just learn something and say, okay, I think I'm tired or I don't like learning. If you don't like learning, you cannot be a technical writer, because technical writing involves explaining complex ideas. And so far tech is evolving, you're still going to keep on learning these complex ideas and explaining them. So in simple terms, you cannot explain what you don't understand, right? If I tell you to come and explain something that is strange and you don't understand it, you find it very difficult. So, in order to be a good technical writer, you need to understand whatever you're explaining, the subject, the concept you're explaining. You need to understand it very, very clearly. And in order to explain it and understand it very clearly, you need to be willing to learn it. Don't be scared that, oh, okay, I'm not really good with this. Oh, I don't know how I'm going to figure it out. Just be willing to learn and know that as a technical writer, you're going to continue learning. Learning never stops. So, as a technical writer, and what technical writing does to you as an aspiring technical writer or a technical writer, it strengthens your sense of user empathy. So, if you're working on a tutorial, what kind of experience do you want your reader to have? There are some engineers that want to solve a bug and then they look for a tutorial, and as soon as they open that tutorial, they're able to solve that bug. But there are some tutorials that make them more confused. So as a technical writer, you ask yourself that question: what kind of experience do I want my user to have? So you have to be empathetic while writing. You need to focus more on what your user needs and the kind of experience you want them to have. You will not only focus on what you want them to know, you have to focus on empathy, what they need, and their experience. So, beyond everything, the job role, your what you need to know, and the rest, there are a lot of other good things that you can benefit from technical writing. It offers a great earning opportunity. You can work with organizations, you can contribute to open source communities, including paid programs. You can even pursue it as a full-time career. So technical writing is very, very interesting. So, what are the skills that every technical writer needs? Okay, I want to go into technical writing. What kind of skill do I need to have? The first and most important skill is writing and communication, because you're going to be doing a lot of writing and you're also going to be doing a lot of communication. So, for writing, you need to be able to explain complex ideas clearly. Like I said earlier, you cannot explain what you don't understand. And these complex ideas, you need to understand it. You need to know how to code, right? You need to be able to have worked with these products. For instance, like I said earlier, the user guide, the installation of the fan. You need to be able to know how to install the fan on your own before writing about it. That way, it makes it easier for you and it also makes it easier for the user to understand what you're talking about. So you have to have the ability to explain complex ideas clearly. You have to have a strong grammar and structure. Don't be scared. You have tools like Grammarly, Hemingway, Quillbots that can help you with your grammatical structure. And also, most importantly, you need to know how to write for different audience. You're going to be writing for different audience. You're going to be writing for beginners, mid-level professionals, senior engineers, and the rest. So you need to understand how to write for different audience to meet their different need. Another skill you need to have as a technical writer is research skills. So I know we are in the age of AI where you can just go to ChatGPT or Gemini or any of this platform and ask for and give them a prompt to give you a solution to whatever you want to solve, right? But I feel like research skills is slowly dying because people don't want to go through that long route of googling, researching, checking different articles, checking Stack Overflow. They just want like a direct answer, right? And it's really going to hurt your career at the end of the day because research skills is a very important skill to have as a technical writer. So you need to understand new topics quickly. And how do you do that? Whatever you're looking for is in the web. I don't think there's anything that you're looking for that has not existed before or that you cannot find in the web. So you need to be able to research. And while researching, you need to be able to understand new topics quickly. Your manager can come and give you something. Okay, there's a new installation guide or there's a new concept that you need to learn. You need to be able to understand it quickly. Nobody is going to wait for you to say, oh, this thing is new now. I don't really understand it. Can I have more time? Yes, they can give you more time, but within yourself, you should be able to understand new topics quickly. You should be able to know how to find accurate information. Like I said earlier, we are in the age of AI where you can get anything you want, any prompts you want, and then you sound intelligent, right? Or you feel, okay, I'm done with the task. I'm not trying to say AI will give me wrong information, but there are some times where I want to like do something, perform a task or something, and then I give AI a prompt and everything, the result it gives me is not. I don't know if you've been in that shoe before. It's not exactly what I want, and it's not going to solve the task at hand. So I need to go afresh and start researching. So you need to know how to find accurate information. If you're a lazy technical writer and you use only AI, you're going to get sacked in less than a month because most times the information might not be completely accurate. And then also you need to know how to ask the right questions. Don't be scared. Know how to approach people, developers, your manager, subject matter experts. Just know when to approach them and know how to ask the right question. The last key we are going to be talking about here is technical understanding. Very, very important as a technical writer. Emphasis on the technical writer. So if I have three persons that are trying to apply for a role, right? And then two of them have software engineering background. Let's say one was a back-end engineer or one was a front-end engineer. And then there's a third person that does not have any engineering background. I'm going to go for the two other guys that have engineering background because they have technical understanding. They have that knowledge. You understand? So, as a technical writer, even if I'm not trying to scare you, so even if you don't have an engineering background, you need to know basic knowledge of software. You need to know basic knowledge of tools and systems. It's not just writing. Okay, let's get this. Imagine you want to contribute to open source and you don't know how to use Git or GitHub. Okay, firstly, you don't even have a GitHub account and you don't know any Git command. You don't even know what pull request is. Ah, you're going to stress whoever you're going to working with and they're not going to hire you. So you need to at least, to the very least, have a basic knowledge of software, have a basic knowledge of tools, of systems, of different things. For me, I started off as a software engineer. I finished a nano degree, university nano degree. I've worked as a front-end engineer with some companies before, and when I started off in technical writing, it was not really strange to me because I already know this prompt, I already know these commands, I already know how to install some certain things. So, what I would advise anyone that is trying to go into technical writing, just try to have basic knowledge of software and tools. I wrote an article earlier this year, and the article was to write on how to build on a particular platform, how to use their cloud platform to build on their cloud platform. And What I did was very simple. I went to build the app from scratch. I built it from scratch. I hosted it on GitHub, and then I used their platform. After building it on my own, that was when I now started writing the tutorial based off of what I did, based off of my experience. I started explaining it. So if you just come in as a writer, you don't know how to install basic stuff, you don't know how to build, it's going to be kind of difficult. So what you would do as an aspiring technical writer is for you to go back to the drawing board, take basic courses, learn Git and GitHub for technical writers. Just know basic stuff like that. You can always learn on the job. So understand how the product works, and then lastly, have the willingness to learn technical concepts. Don't give up easily. Don't do, oh, this thing is hard, I'm tired, I'm looking for an easy way out, and you're telling me to go and learn technical blah blah blah. That's why I left software engineering and I'm here, and you're still telling me to go and learn technical concepts. So just have the willingness to learn technical concepts. So, what is the technical writing process? So, we have a process in technical writing, and the first process is analyze and understand who your readers are. Like I said earlier, you're going to be writing for different audience. You're going to be writing for beginners, you're going to be writing for experienced experts, mid-level, senior engineers, and the rest. So, if you're writing for a beginner, and let's say you want to write how to install React or how to build an app, let's say how to build an app on React, and the beginning of your article is integrate the API or do this, you leave the beginner will be very confused, like what is this one saying? So there's a process. You have to start from introduction first, and then you start by defining or explaining what React is. Or React is a JavaScript framework, React is this, that, and then you go on to tell the user how to install React, and then you start explaining the components, SRC, and everything. That's the process of writing for a beginner. You understand? So you have to know who you're writing for. So if you're writing for a more senior engineer, there's no need to go over and start explaining the process. Just go straight to the point, because you assume, or it is known, that since that person is a senior engineer, the person already knows all those processes, and the person is just looking for one thing. So you have to know and understand who your readers are. And I also said this earlier, you have to think about your user experience. What kind of experience do you want your user to have? Do you want your user to be confused? Do you want your user to be happy? Do you want your user to be able to solve the problem, to use the product efficiently, and all that? Another thing is plan your documents. Don't just write A year, B year, C year. You need to be able to plan your documents while writing your drafts. Fourthly, you need to conduct thorough research about the topic. So when you're writing about the topic, you don't know it all as a technical writer. I don't think there's anybody that knows it all. So conduct your research. If you're writing for a particular platform, let's say you are participating in this, or they reached out to you to write for them, just conduct a research. For me, what I do is I go to their websites, and then in every website, in every company website, there's a blog. So I go to their blog or their tutorial section or their documentation section, and I read the already existing tutorial. I read the already existing blog that was there. And then one of the things I take note of is how it was structured. I see their writing style, I take note of it, and it really helps. So don't just, okay, let me just write it anyhow. Conduct thorough research about the topic you want to write. The next thing is for you to make an outline. Like I said earlier, you would have to start from introduction. You don't just take whatever should be at the bottom to the top. You start from introduction, basic definitions, and the rest, and then you go through like that. Also, get relevant graphics and images. So when I was building the app for the article I wanted to write, I was taking screenshots of the processes to add to my article. And have you ever read an article or something, and then you're seeing visuals? It helps, right? It's really helpful for you. So add relevant graphics, add relevant images that can help to boost your article, that can help to make your documentation to be more helpful and all that. Seven, you can use the correct style guide. So we have what we call style guide in technical writing. We have the Microsoft style guide. We have the Google writing style guide. So many style guides. So just know the particular style guide that company wants. So for Free Code Camp, right, they have like a writing program. It's not paid, it's free, but they have their own writing style guide. So if you want to apply for it, you have to submit 3 articles that you've written. And then when you submit that article, they'll have to look through it and see your writing style. If it matches their own, they are going to accept you. But one of the perks of writing for Free Code Camp is that you will have an experienced editor that will edit your article, and with that you'll be able to learn faster. Also, visual formatting. A lot of persons don't know how to format their article. Have you read an article where everything is joints? Like there's no paragraph, there's no space, everything is just joints. Like your head is already, it doesn't make reading the article enjoyable, it's just scattered. So know how to format your article while writing, choose your words carefully, and also use plain language. So instead we communicate in English. There are some companies that you need to know how to speak French, Germany, and the rest, depending on the company, but it is wise to use plain language. After writing and after all these processes, you need to do a careful review. Take your time. If you're tired or you're burnt out at the moment, you can just come back later and read it. You can ask someone else to read it, proofread it for. So just do a careful review of the article. Another thing is use active voice. So in technical writing, voice is preferred to passive voice. So use active voice in your writing because active voice is clearer and it's easier to understand than passive voice. So when you're using active voice, the subject is the one performing the action. So the reader in that is reading your article is the one performing that action. Meanwhile, in passive voice, the subject is the one receiving the action. I don't know if I explained it well, but active voice is better. So this is an example, right? This is passive. It says the documentation should be read 6 times a year by every web developer, while active, every web developer should read this documentation 6 times a year. So active voice is preferred in technical writing. Avoid excessive jargon. So at the beginning of this talk, I talked about how your number one job as a technical writer is to explain complex information. So there's no need. Something is already complex. You're not using complex words again. You're going to end up confusing your user. So avoid excessive, look for the best way to simplify. I'm not saying you should erase the entirety of the article. So if you're an expert in your field, it will be easy for you to be familiar with jargons. So if I come and say Docusaurus now, right now, not everybody will understand what Docusaurus is used for or what it is, but it is used in technical writing, right? But me, I understand. An experienced technical writer that's worked on documentation would know what it is. So because you understand does not mean you should use it. So in order not to confuse your readers, avoid acronyms as well, especially acronyms that you have not explained earlier. Again, do a careful review. So where do you publish your articles? Let's say you are just getting started and you want to start writing, you want people to know. So we have dev.to. It's also a tech community and a blogging platform. So you have developers there, you have writers, different people. So they connect, they share ideas, and then they engage with valuable resources. So you can just create an account and start publishing your article there. We have Hashnode as well. So Hashnode, it gives you a custom domain to your name, and it also has an interactive community. Yesterday, I opened Hashnode and I saw that there are some hackathons, writing hackathons that are taking place. So you can also participate in it and get reviews, get rewards as well. And it's very easy to set up. And then there's another one, Hackanoon as well. Hackanoon, it has so many writers and so many readers. So it's a very, very strong platform. And One of the perks of using her Canon is that it has inbuilt proofreading support. So they can help you to proofread your article before you publish and all that. So you can publish your articles using these platforms. You can post it on LinkedIn, and then gradually you can begin to build your portfolio. And one thing I will always say is contribute to open source. It helps. So, as a writer that is just getting started, you obviously don't have an experience, and most of these job opportunities, even if it's for an intern position, they'll require you to have at least, the very least, an experience. And one of the ways to build these experiences is by contributing to open source. You would have the opportunity to contribute to projects of foreign companies, like big companies, and like you start working with small tasks. That was why I talked about at least knowing the basics of Git, knowing the basics of GitHub, because you cannot contribute to open source without knowing these things. So contributing to open source projects helps you to work on projects, and then with time you can build your portfolio and then start applying for roles, start applying for paid programs. There are some companies that do these paid programs. I'm just going to mention a few. You have Smashing Magazine, they pay you to write for them. So you just propose an article, and if it is approved, you write for them and you get paid. Also, Open Replay, I don't know if they're still active. There are a couple of others as well. And then I attached free courses. So one of the things I do if somebody approach me that I want to learn technical writing, one of the courses I share with them is Google Technical Writing course, because it has everything you need. It has grammar, structure, everything that you need to scale. So we have the Google Technical Writing course. You can just type it on your browser. And then this second resource that I'm sharing, right, it will also be helpful for mid-level professionals or people that are actively building technical writing career, because it has so many resources. Apart from learning resources, it has tips on how to get hired, how to structure your portfolio, how to apply for roles, how to tailor your CV, different things in this resource. So this is also very helpful, and it was written by experienced professionals. And then we have Writers Rights is also a platform that will be helpful. And then this is the technical writing templates as well on GitHub. So I think that is basically all I came with now. And the floor is open for questions. You can ask your questions.
Hi, thank you so much for sharing. That was
You're
amazing.
welcome.
Hi
Thank
ladies.
you.
Would like to know if you have any questions, please can you drop them in the comments? We'll be getting to that shortly. Um, yeah, so if you have any questions for please drop them in the comments. Any questions at all about technical writing, please drop them. Although we have a few questions for you internally, and I'm just going to be displaying them here on the screen. So the first one here is, how do you write for multiple audiences with the same story or document?
Um, I'm trying to understand, like, multiple audiences, beginners, experienced people for one document,
Yeah.
right? I think you need to
Mm-hmm.
factor in everything. Like I said earlier, if you're writing for beginners, you have to start from introduction and the rest. Then if you're writing for experienced professionals, you need to go straight to the point, because they actually don't have that time and they already know most of these concepts. So in the case where you're writing for multiple audiences, you need to merge both. You need to add everything that you expect the beginner to want to know, and also add what you expect the experienced professional to know. So everything is supposed to be in that particular document, so that each audience can come and get what they are looking for without getting confused or getting bored. So yeah.
So is it the case of, say there's an article, is it the case of, we have a whole section dedicated for the beginners, for instance, and then maybe another section dedicated for the more advanced people, or do you just infuse that in?
Okay, so if it is a documentation, right, it
Mm-hmm.
starts from the beginner aspect. It starts from the first part of it has to be getting started, introduction, like on the navbar. So there are different parts, right, of the article on the navbar. So the beginner can go to getting started since they actually don't know about the product, while the experienced professional can just go to the frameworks or whatever they are looking for and just get the information they need.
All right. Thank you so much. There's a next question here for you. Where do you draw the line between simplifying things and losing the necessary details?
Okay, yes, I also mentioned that as well. So, because you're trying to simplify things for your audience, does not mean you would completely lose all the necessary details. So, when writing an article, you can have a glossary section where you actually, if there is something that you know, there's no how I can simplify this thing. So I just need to write it as it is. So you can have a glossary section where you explain these concepts in depth. And you can also have a resource section as well, where you add links to this to probably, okay, let's say you're writing about the view framework. In the resource section you can add the view documentation for the person to go and read more about it, because at this point you have reached your elastic limit with explanation, so with simplifying things. So in order not to lose the necessary details, you can just add either a glossary section or a resource section to that for the reader to read more about it.
All right. Thank you. Next question for you. How do you measure whether your technical writing is actually effective? I know this one, someone shared a while back in the community. I think we were just having a conversation, a random conversation in the community. And someone talked about how um, she wrote an article that ranked so high in Google, and another person just comes up with a similar question like, how do I actually know that this article that I'm writing, is effective and people are discovering it, or people are, finding it useful?
Okay, I think one of the ways that you can know this is number one, feedback. What kind of feedback did you get? Did you get, if you're a lone writer, let's say you just published it on your blog, you'll be able to see the number of views, like the number of persons that have viewed that article, and they'll be able to drop their comments. So even if they don't reach out to you directly, you'd see the comments. There was a time I wrote an article. I've been writing articles, but I don't really get traction. But I just wrote, there was an article I wrote, I just wrote it like randomly. I don't expect any traction or anything. Number one, Hash Note sent it in their newsletter. And I was like,
Oh,
wow. And then secondly, the views skyrocketed. And then they posted it, like what Hashnote does, or like they usually highlight articles of the week.
mhm.
And then my article was one of them. And then I got good feedbacks as well. So this is like a good way for you to know that your article is effective and is reaching the right audience.
Okay. So is it safe to say that as technical writers, you also need to learn how SEO works for your article?
Yes. Yes, you need to learn. So when you're publishing, I didn't talk about it because this is like more like a beginner. So I didn't want to like start going in depth into SEO and the rest. Now they won't have AEO and they have GEO. So for AEO, before I go
So
back
for
to,
those that don't know what it means, could you use a
okay,
moment?
for SEO, right? SEO is search engine optimization. And then when you're publishing your article in hash node, you would see a place where you can add SEO slug, SEO, yada, 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 and the rest. And then those things that you're adding will help your article to have more reach. That's for SEO. And then for AEO, which is answer engine optimization, have you ever searched something on AI, or let's say ChatGPT, and then a page comes up,
Yeah,
right?
that happens a
So
lot. Yeah.
yeah, so if somebody searches this and then you want your article to, you want an AI to recommend your article to them. That is answer engine optimization. So you can also do that as well. So that's like more in depth. Maybe some other time you can get to discuss that.
All right. I think one last question I have here before we go into the comments. What's your approach to structuring complex information so readers can quickly find what they need?
Okay, this is quite a tricky question because there are some articles that require you to that are very brief. That when you finish writing, it's just like 2,000 words. But there are some articles that no matter how you do it, you will still need to include a lot of essential information. And then at the end of the day, they are like 5,000 words and the rest, so 5.1K words. So the approach to structuring this complex information is I'll just say most times people don't read your the one thing you should know as a technical writer is that most times people don't read the article from top to bottom, line by line. Unless the person actually wants to learn something. Okay, the person says, okay, I want to learn this thing today, and then go over your article and the rest. But most times these people are busy engineers. They just want to install this thing and go. So what they do is that they just scan through your article and then read. That is why H2 is like the preferred heading while writing. So what I would say is use good formatting. This way your reader will be able to look for the information that they are looking for immediately. Like it will be easy for them to look for it quickly. So I don't know if that answered it.
All right. Yes, it did. Thank you so much. So now we make a trip. Let's take a flight to the comment section. We do have a couple of questions here. Um, okay. So we have this from Esther. She's saying you mentioned about open source. Can you mention where we can apply for the I think I'm guessing she meant to say apply for the open source. So yeah, open source.
Okay, actually, you don't apply for open source. You just there's a way it is. First off, you need to like have if you have a GitHub account, there's a search bar there. So you just go to the search bar and type technical writing repositories or documentation repositories. You see like an array of them just pop up. Then you scan through. Let's say you open a particular repository. What you do, you go to the issue. There's something called issue. That is where anything they need help with is. And then you can pick a simple task, maybe like adding a conclusion to this or formatting this. You can just type, oh, hi, maintainer, I want to work on this. And they'll assign it to you and you work on it. So that's just open source, very simple. You don't need to apply and interview and get selected. So, yeah, that's it. Can anyone still hear me? Oh, is it my network?
Hi, I am so
Hi.
sorry. Hmm. Today's internet connection has been something else. I'm so sorry.
No
Okay.
problem.
Yeah. So we do have another one here. I don't know if you touched that while I was away, but Rachel is asking, can we write on Medium as a technical writer?
Yes, of course. You can write on Medium as a technical writer, but if you want, you like I said, I always emphasize on audience, right? Developers hardly go on Medium to look for article. They have more like developer communities on dev.to, Hackanoon, and the rest. So Medium is usually good for content writing, blog writing, but you can also write on Medium if you wish as well. Yeah, so that's it.
All right, thank you. And I think the final question I see here is from Imabong. She's asking, I don't know why this isn't showing. So she's asking, can this guideline be used in academic research or project?
Okay, I'm not sure what you was it the guideline I mentioned while giving the talk. Yes, I think you can use similar approach. Although I said there are different kinds of writing, and these different kinds of writing have their different style guides. So for technical writing has its own style guide and approach, and academic research or project to also have its own style guide and approach as well. So you just have to make your research and know the particular style guides that fits what you're writing.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay, so I think that's all the questions that we have. Oh, there's one more. How can a technical writer stay ahead in this AI era? So that's the last question we'll be taking.
Yeah,
We'll take a couple of announcements
this
and we call
question
it a.
is this question is very, very important. I've been looking for someone that will ask this question actually. So when AI came, people were like, AI is going to take our job and all that. And now AI is being automated, like it's being integrated in the workflows and all that. So in order to stay ahead, I think you should learn these AI tools, know how to use it and be good at what you're doing. I don't think AI will completely take your job or whatever. So in order to stay ahead, just learn how to automate your workflow, know how to use these tools and just be good at it. Because during interviews, they'll ask you, do you know how to use these tools? And if you don't know how to use it, you're already at a disadvantage. So that's how to stay ahead.
All right. Thank you so much, Peace,
You're
for
welcome.
joining today's session. Network has been not so friendly, but I'm glad that you're able to join this session and also get to share your knowledge. Do you have any final words for us, for people getting started in technical writing for the first time? Do you have anything for us?
Okay, I'll just say keep on learning, keep on improving, keep contributing to open source, put yourself out there. If you write an article, don't have this idea, oh, this article is not good enough. You can post it on your socials, post it on LinkedIn for people to see, post it on groups, Slack groups, and the rest, and just put in your best. And then you can follow me on socials. I have a Substack newsletter where I share these resources and these courses as well to stay ahead.
All right. Thank you so much, Peace. I'm going to share all, if you're not registered for this session on Luma, I have dropped the link in the comments below. Um, Please ensure that you fill out the form in that comments, the link I just dropped in the comments, because we will be sharing post session activities, challenges, and resources for people that would love to learn or get started in technical writing. And we'll also be sharing Peace social media handles as well. So if you're not registered, the link is in the comments. Make sure that you sign up. We'll be sending email notifications after this session. So thank you so much, Peace, for
Thank
taking our time
you.
to come share your knowledge. We hope to have you in our upcoming sessions. And hey, I hope that everyone had an amazing time today. Don't forget to sign up if you haven't. We will have post activities for this session. So you get started if you want to get started in technical writing. All
Okay.
right. Thank you, ladies. Bye.